I want to just add on to that, and just to add on some education for those listening, and for anyone who might be thinking, "Oh, damn, did I do anything bro?" Like, honestly, like, you have to remember, yeah, just like we're discussing about prisons being a business, we're seen as property, right? And unfortunately, there's a certain demographic that is really seen as, right, we can just do as we want with this group. Now, it's such a crazy kind of loop system. So if you start at the top, you've got miseducation. So we're coming in early years. We've got miseducation, and then we've got I would say misexamination, because the way that we examine children and young people is not to see who's actually smart. It's not to test your intelligence. It's to see who's going to be the better slave. So if you come into the system and you're already kind of being trained to be this kind of slave or that kind of slave, some of us, and I was having this discussion with someone yesterday, it's crazy. Like, I don't want to call no one a bad kid, but have you ever noticed how the kids that always act up in school, the kids that are the naughty kids, they are the smartest kids. Like, they'll go in and do their GCSEs off of coming from bunking off of like 2 years, smoking weed in the park, and they'll just come in and get A's and B's.
That's right.
But they're just not interested in the way they're being taught.
That's right.
So where they kind of frustrate them in school, then they leave school kind of thinking education's bullshit. I don't want to deal with that. I want to do my own thing. This is way more attractive anyway. And through media, through community, through advertising, they are showing all the wrong things. They are shown how to misbehave. They're taught that if crime pays, they're taught that crime is glamorous. So they just go into this life with obviously, nobody, their families are obviously guiding them, but unfortunately, kids are at school more than they're at home. They're outside way more than they're at home. So their influence is being drawn in from all the wrong things, right? So when they get to the age that joint enterprise can actually now affect them, how much easier is it going to be to trap them in that? Well, you're already messed up. And then they put them inside, what's going to mess most of them up even more. It's only some of them that really come out okay or wanting to better their life. But they come out learning all sorts of mad crimes in there, teaching man them all sorts of madness when they come out, and then they're right back in. So this business, where you've got employees that will never, never diminish. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to add on to what you're saying, but carry on.
So going back to the school system, so you've heard of from school to prison pipeline.
I haven't, no.
Right, so it's from school to prison pipeline. I'll try and explain it as best as I can. So, like you said, going back to the children whose way of learning is not what they want them to learn, the sheep way of learning, basically. You understand? Group think. Everybody sit down, head forward, and all, you get what I'm saying? There's some children that don't learn like that because there's different styles. They've whittled it down to 3, but it used to be 5 different ways of learning. So you learn through sight and hearing.
Got the kinetic learning.
Yeah, that's right. All of those kinds of things. Not all children learn the same. Right. So the ones who need to move and they need to, whatever the case may be, and whatever they call them the disruptive ones.
Or they try to label them with ADHD, autism, and all that, right, which is bullshit for most kids, because they just have a different mind.
They have a different mind. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what they should really do with those children is, all right, then, because they need to, the reason why they move and they do all of that is because their brain, they need to keep alert. You understand what I'm saying? They need to keep active. So they do that so that they can stay alert and stay, you understand what I'm saying? So the teacher will class it as disruptive. So then what happens? They get sent out of class, or you understand, or they agitate them and get them upset and get them angry. Then they label them as angry, get aggressive, and then it leads them to that's right, leads them down to that path. So what happens? They get excluded, and some schools will not exclude them because, again, some schools get paid. I think the last time I checked, I think it was £75,000 for one child to go to a PRU. Yeah. So when they go to the PRU. Some PRUs are like prisons.
What? It used to be unit. That's unit back in our days.
That's right. It's called unit.
No, they're horrendous
now. So they when they go to PRU's like a prison. So you go there, if you're getting restrained, and it's that prison atmosphere.
It's like a prep prison.
Yeah, so it's prep. It is. So it is a prep. It is a prep for prison, and they're allowed to.
Yeah, but the staff are allowed to fling them on the floor and everything. I've seen it.
Yeah, they're allowed to basically in the PRUs.
But they need to frustrate the youth, though. All of this can't can't really take place unless you're already in a place where you're going to be erratic and you're just going to be a hothead. You know what I'm saying? Like, they always need to. You can't just come to you can't just influence a human being to do something without planting that seed first.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, another thing for the parents, not all parents, but a lot of parents need to really pay attention to what's going on around your kids, what's being shown to your kids in school, what's being taught. When you go to your child's parents' evening and they're telling you your child's disruptive, or they're disruptive to other children, or they're the leader of the gang in school or whatever. Listen, don't always take the teacher's word, because what they're trying to do is get you to say, oh, really? Okay. And then they'll write it down on that report. That report carries them throughout their whole educational career. So every time they go to an institution, they look at that report before they've even seen the parents or seen the child. They look at that, they see disruptive, they see the grades, it's fine. You know, you can do your work, but you're disruptive. Usually leads other people, has to be moved away from other students, all of that kind of bullshit. And now they're already going to put you in a place where you feel like, oh, I am that person. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you just now mentally you start actually building that shit in your mind, treating yourself like that. Yeah. But